Hello and welcome to the Inner Gamer Next, where we play a video game and figure out if it should or shouldn't be next up on your video game playlist. And as always, if you enjoy this content, make sure to like and subscribe and bang that bell because we know you want to. Bang it!
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is here. It has arrived. Respawn Entertainment's game, single player only experience, EA's first single player only after they had come out and said, we're not going to play single player games because nobody, or we're not going to make single player games because nobody wants them. But apparently people do want them, and this game is selling and it's reviewing really well, and it's here. We have Star Wars game. Y'all tell me, give me your first impressions of this game.
This game is a Dark Souls style game. It's very, very brutal. So I mean, I got to the point where you have your difficulty levels, and I went down to a story mode level. So they do have that for you, so you can play through with a little bit of difficult to it, but not too difficult. So you can play through the story and enjoy the campaign. It's a good mix between Dark Souls and Uncharted, especially with the little bit of puzzles that you have. But I really enjoyed the game. To me, it was pretty short because I beat it, like they said, within a week. So that was me just nonstop playing.
If you could guess how many hours you spent, how many hours do you think it would be?
You know what? The woman asked me about that because she's like, what are you playing now? Because I'm playing a different game now. And I'm like, what happened to Fallen Order? And I'm like, I kind of beat it. And she's like, that wasn't long. And I was just like, no. She's like, how many hours you put into it? I'm like, I don't know.
Supposedly it's like 20 to 30, I think, is the range-ish.
I think 20 is a good number. Yeah. 20 hours. Yeah.
That's one thing I wish that PlayStation did, that they gave you hour counts of your gameplay. Like, I feel like that shouldn't be too hard to build into the system. And then you can use that analytic data to help better, I don't know, deals and stuff like that. Like, they could probably like source that data for their own benefit. And I wish they did that because like Steam does it, Origin does it, Switch kind of does it, but not really well. And I want them to just give me a time code of how long I've been playing this game.
Been playing it.
It'd be great.
It says on normal difficulty, the campaign should take around 15 hours. If you want to find all the secrets, collectibles, and tombs, you will spend about 30 hours.
Oh yeah,
okay.
The tombs and stuff that will take you a while. Well, not the tombs, but the collectibles, which
I
find pointless. So.
You find pointless.
Yes.
It's like screw that shit.
There's no real point in it. I mean, you get cosmetics and stuff like that, especially the cosmetics to the ship. I feel like it's pointless, but
yeah.
I mean, it's a nice little touch if you want to do that, which is cool, I guess. Like, I found myself swapping out my blade color every so often.
Yeah.
Just to kind of switch it up. But I mean, at the same time, you have your lightsaber that you can customize in like 3 different parts, I think, and then change the color, like different metals you can use. But you hardly see, like, you're fighting, like, you're not looking at your saber. It's just like, just give me one saber, let me change colors, I guess. And then, but it would be nice if, because the skill tree is pretty cool. It has, you can focus on health, you can focus on the force, like, you can get more force stuff and different attunements for that. And then there's all combat. It would have been nice because the blades actually mean a different class within the Jedi Order. So, like, the yellow is Sentinel, the blue is the Knight, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong about any of this. I know you don't know.
I know Jar Jar Binks, and that's about it.
That's not good.
Han Solo, I know. In this game, yeah.
And then the green is, I forgot, like the, kind of like the Negotiators. That's the best way I could put out an actual name for that. So, like, they all have, like, the different roles, and it'd be cool, like, if you chose those classes and that's the kind of blade you got. Or just stick with, if you're, you start out with the blue blade, so just stick with, like, this is my role. Because when you become a Jedi and you finally get to build your lightsaber, I think that's when you become a certain class. Like, that's how you decide. Or it might even be that, your crystal attunes to your strengths, which the color determines what that is, or, like, a visual representation of who you are. So they could have gone farther with that, I feel like. Not to say it's not a good game, but yeah. Customization's good.
Yeah, the customization, Jesus, I can't talk right now, is good. But yeah, besides that, it's a good game, and I really enjoyed it. It's just, if you're not a fan of Dark Souls or Uncharted, wouldn't recommend this game, but it's well worth the price point, which is, the regular $60 or whatever. So I feel like laundry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
This
Have
is
my
the second
laundry
time.
running. Yeah.
So
I was trying to get it done ahead of time. It just didn't work out. It was just one of those things that I was supposed to do my laundry yesterday, and I got carried away with other stuff, and I was like, "Whoa, here I am." Just
welcome to the podcast.
no laundry.
Yes.
Yeah,
Laundry.
yeah. It's
out
my
of a
birthday. I can
house?
say whatever I want. Okay.
Fine. So I have
yeah.
an issue with the story.
Okay.
That's my biggest thing. Is I don't find it very compelling. And yes, it's a Star Wars story, so I understand like it's a Star Wars story, right? It's not like the best thing in the world, but
Hey, be careful what you say.
I know
There's some
I know.
Star Wars fans out there.
But I find like I know people can take some issue with the original 3 Star Wars films, but obviously I saw it when I was a kid and it stuck with me, and over time,
Yeah,
I've
those
grown
are
up with
terrible
them,
stories.
So
No, I'm just kidding. They weren't
watch
bad.
what you say, okay?
They weren't too bad.
It's like I understand like it's not the perfect story, but there are elements in there that have made it something that's timeless and that people enjoy, and people can look back and be like, I still like it. I still want to go back and watch some of the stuff. I think this story could have used some of that, and I don't find the characters super compelling. I mean, I think his situation and the time period that he's set in is interesting. And like some of the opening scenes, which I'm sure you saw, is like he's working in a scrapyard trying to take down all the old ships from
After the execution of Orders 66.
Right. The Clone Wars is basically what it was.
Yeah.
Like they're doing all this stuff. So it's cool to see them like moving ships into the area, cutting them all down, and how they do it. And I was like, well, that's really cool. But I felt like we weren't there long enough, and there's a lot of history there to be explored, which I understand that's not the whole point of the game. And then some of the beats from that going forward were just super quick. And again, I understand that it's trying to just get to the meat of the story. Like we don't need to spend a lot of time in this area, but it just went from like, I guess minor spoilers. He's hiding to he uses his force powers in a trailer, and then bam, like they got him. And then bam, he's like, all right, my friend's dead, and now I'm just going to go off and do something.
And now all of a sudden he's caring about, instead of hiding anymore, he's just like, oh, now I have to do something.
Yeah.
He's out. He's exposed. He's like, oh, now I got to do something.
Right.
Even though I've been hiding this whole time. Why not do something before then? But yeah, no.
Yeah, the hiding thing is really weird for me because I didn't understand when I first started playing the game. I didn't realize that he already knew that he was a Jedi and all that stuff was like understood. I just thought whenever there was that sequence where his buddy's falling down and he reaches out and like grabs him, I thought that was his first time he realized he had force powers.
Oh, I see.
Then I
see.
discover later on quickly that no, that's not the case. Like he did have force powers, and I guess let that kind of fall away because he was in hiding or whatever. So it was disjointing for me. It wasn't really explained well. Like I remember in the trailer after I saw that happen, like, oh yeah, that was the backstory.
Right.
But the game itself didn't explain that very well.
Right.
And then
But-
also with that story, I mean, we already know how it's going to end. I mean,
Yeah, we know where we're
We
going.
know where we're going with this. There's nothing new. I mean, I hope EA, once this progresses through, because I feel like, once Star Wars is done, they'll have a wide range they can open up and do more with the video game side of things. But right now, if you're playing this game, it's after Order 66. Everyone knows fucking everything that went down, and we all know how everything ends. You're just kind of like, what's the point now? We already know what's going to happen.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So did you get through where he gets caught and everything?
Where he gets caught.
They find him?
Yes, I think. Wait,
he's
no.
already on the first planet.
Yeah, I'm on the first
Oh, okay,
planet.
yeah, you found it.
He's
So again, minor spoilers is like he gets on this train after he saves his friend from almost dying,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a train.
Yeah.
And trains have lots of people on them. For some reason, this train gets stopped, and there's like 8 people on it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, I think it's a cargo train. I don't think it was actually like a passenger train. It looked
You
like
still
it
have
was
a lot of
more-
people working in this
that
area.
scrapyard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole scrapyard. You would think,
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
shift
people.
time change or
It was a
Yeah.
pretty intense sequence, although rather far-fetched in many instances.
Right.
Where he's like climbing on the side of this super fast train that's moving way
Right.
faster than I feel like any train should possibly move.
Well, I mean,
But-
it is in the future.
But yeah,
it's
but
future.
it's yeah.
Okay, if that's what bothers you, I'm talking about the story bit here. It's like
Yeah.
he gets out and it's just like, I'm gonna what's her name? Who's the main bad villain? I forgot her name.
Second sister.
Second sister.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna hurt these people if you don't reveal yourself. And it's like, how is he hiding? How does she not see these 8 people? And like, okay, you're obviously the Jedi. Like, are you serious? It's not like there's a bunch of people here blocking.
How do you
the
know?
Force.
Yeah, you are a racist.
How do you know that that's the Jedi?
Yeah.
Because it's just too obvious.
How? He just looks like everybody else.
Because
doesn't-
I can understand.
Why is it
obviously,
obvious?
all right. Brett's not
He's
into
wearing plain
Star
clothes.
Wars as much as everybody else.
He's a white guy. Is it because he's a white guy? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
white
But it make
guy,
more
yeah,
sense because, like,
No, I'm kidding. I want to know your reasoning.
So
like,
she
behind
has
that,
the
'cause I don't-
Force, right?
Yes.
She is Force sensitive. Force sensitive people
So
can.
she can sense the Force
Yes,
people.
It's more of like a guidance, and you're attracted to more Force sensitive people in general. Like, I'm sure more people can easily find other Force sensitive people.
Remember, he doesn't have his Force abilities quite yet figured out again. He like lost those
He's broken
abilities.
from the
He's
Force.
broken. So therefore, that connection's not as strong there.
Well, that point in the story was not at least brought to my attention in a way that made sense for this.
Yeah,
I guess so.
yeah. I don't know. It is a weird. There are some plot holes, some broken pieces,
Right.
and there are some rough edges around it. But I think,
Right.
I mean, I'm really impressed with what they were able to do for, especially looking at Respawn where they came from. Like they worked on Titanfall 2, which honestly, Titanfall 2 had one of the best stories of any shooter I've ever played, and it was highly. Nobody ever played it. That's the shitty part, is that nobody ever touched it, but it was fucking awesome. Like so good, full of humor, just enough to where you weren't like, you know, there was just enough there where it was really fun and exciting. You could jump into multiplayer, but it was really, really good. And then they came from the Call of Duty background, the time when Call of Duty games were like really solid as well. So they have like a good story structure, and they made Apex Legends, but they've all done shooters. They've never done this. And here they pulled off a believable Uncharted style combat system, you know, where you're like doing all these climbing and stuff like that, which they've had wall running before, but the gameplay mechanics that they've added from the Uncharted series is really interesting. They successfully pulled off melee combat that's akin to Dark Souls that doesn't feel bad. I mean, it's not great. It's not like Dark Souls, but it's very
Similar.
good for it. And like the amount of achievement, and then they told a story that people aren't upset about, which is also very surprising. Like I'm not seeing anywhere where it's like, oh, they fucked up the lore and like did all this stuff, which is crazy to me that they were able to hit all those boxes. And it's EA, so like that's a whole nother thing. You know,
Well, it's not
like,
EA. EA was like, okay, we'll just give you money.
well, it's on their names
I
on it, you
know,
know.
I
So
know.
it's an EA property.
I know,
and they gave
I
it the
know.
green light. So that alone is very impressive that they
Positive.
did all those things and are reviewing highly. And I'm like, wow, that's a feat in itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying the bits I played so far, but it's different. Like I don't like the Dark Souls-y combat as much, like the slow methodical stuff, but that's just 'cause I just don't like that style of gameplay.
Well, I mean,
like, I
it's
want
just-
more
it's-
Batman Arkham.
Disjoining
stuff.
for a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Like in theory, it sounds great, but in practice, I don't think it was executed properly. And I think because it's rough around the edges, there's something wrong with timing with attacks, and there's like a small amount of downtime for me just made it an issue to grasp. Even now, like it's still an issue to grasp the combat, and I'm like at least 10 hours in, if not more,
Yeah.
in this game. And Dark Souls, like they got it down completely, like perfect, smooth. You understand the timing. You're always going to have issues, obviously, but I was able to grasp the combat to the degree that I could get through the game and it still be challenging because obviously, you know, different enemies change and have different tactics and stuff. But I never felt like the combat was to the point where it's like, I don't know, I forgot what this is. Like, how do I do this or do that? Or why am I getting hit? It's like, I know why I'm getting hit because I didn't hit this button at the exact time I needed to,
Yeah.
or I didn't go the exact direction I needed to. And this is why I'm dying right now. This one was like, why is this taking so long to hit and do this? And then the enemies just seem way more sporadic than they should be. Okay, given all this, I know I'm kind of tearing it apart. It's because I want to like this game, and I think it is a good game. I'm not saying people shouldn't buy this. I highly recommend this game. Just put that out there.
So what do you like about it?
Well, the combat's nice. That you're able to explore. Unchartedness is interesting. I mean, you get to kind of dive in because when he walks around, he gets to kind of he has like this force sensitive I forgot what they call it when you like
it's a
touch
force
things.
sensitive. He basically sees the past of that item that he touches. I'm trying to refer it to something else that I've seen before in a movie, but he can feel the emotion, the what happened with whoever held that item. So because there was an example once he picked up a guitar and he was able to play the music that his companion was with him, because he felt the emotion, everything that guitar went through with that person, and he was able to pick up music right away. So I wish they would touch base on that a little bit more, but you find that only with his collectible items that he go through. He'll touch something and it'll tell you a story of what happened with this item or who this item belonged to, but that's it. You don't go explore and find that person or go communicate with that person. I thought that's what they were going to open up with that, with like little side missions or something.
Right.
But I'm assuming since with the Dark Souls style, that's what they didn't want to go that path. And plus, just how linear it is.
Yeah. It's little story bits to like understand the area you're in.
Yeah.
And I think that helps expand a little more than just like, very linear, go here, go there. And it's a little open and stuff. And I like how you have to backtrack. And early on I was getting upset because I was like, why don't I have the powers to do this right now? Like, either like pull something down, or I guess you could push something down, or like there's a rope, like why can't I get up there? Or, the zip lines, at first you can only go down them, but then as you upgrade BB1, you can go the opposite way.
So it's like Metroidvania style, basically.
Yes. So I was going back and I was like, oh, okay, now I can do this. I remember this. I was like, because early on I was like, I don't have to remember to come back here if I need to. Like, but
is there any like indication on the map that so you have like a reference point of, oh yeah, this is where I needed to come back to, or is it just you just need to remember the room that you're in or space that you're at?
You'd have to remember that. Okay. But they do a good job of kind of like taking you back to certain areas. So like you'll pass by that, and then I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Let me go.
Yeah, because there's no fast travel, right? It's just when you get to the end or whatever, and you need to go back to your ship, you have to like literally go back to your ship.
Yeah, and that can get annoying with like certain planets. Like you go to your main objective, then you had to go all the way back to your ship. There's no fast travel or anything,
and you hope you didn't rest to respawn all the enemies.
Respawn, because once you rest, you get all your health stones back. You get your health rejuvenated, but you get all the enemies, they come back. And like I just went through all that bullshit.
Yeah.
But the path that you take to go back to the ship, there's usually a different path, so you don't have to worry about the other guys.
Okay.
And plus on the map as well, it'll show you doorways that have either A, been unexplored, or B, that can't be opened.
Right.
Or green, which I think you already explored. So it kind of helps you realize where you're going and where you need to go.
Yeah,
that's good.
Oh, green. I think green shows you your actual path you need to go.
Okay,
your objective based path or something. Yeah,
I think it's nice too, because what was the first planet you had to go to the temple?
I can't remember the planet's
name.
Yeah, the green one.
Yeah.
The like one of the first planets you go to, and you have to fight an AT-AT or ATST.
Oh yeah.
That's the one. It's like really windy planet getting in.
It's the second planet you go to.
I think so.
It didn't have the Wookiees, but I know which planet you're talking about. No.
It was nice because like obviously you go there, you wipe them out, and like you're gonna come back to it, and it's like, well, I'm gonna deal with the same stuff, right? But they've like populated it with different enemies, and it threw me through a loop. I was like, this is awesome, because now it's not the same experience. It's completely different. There's robots, and there's this one area where like you first get to slide down like the little glacier path, and like I go through the shortcut door, and when I open it, there was way more enemies there than there were before. I was like, oh shit.
Did you go with the bounty hunters at all?
Just that one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like if it'll be a reoccurring thing or not, because I've dealt with 2 of them so far just playing through the story.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like go out and hunt for these bounty hunters. I hope so, because then that'll give me a reason to go and search through all those hidden areas. But you deal with more bounty hunters as you progress.
That's interesting. Yeah, that first time blew me. I was like, oh shit. Like I could not do anything. And then when I went to Hill, he stunned me and shocked me, and I was like, fuck it. And then it was like, oh well, I was like, I guess I died right now, but it leads to like a little other story mission thing, and I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah, which was
I won't get into that, but
those spoilers and stuff.
That's cool.
Cutscenes are great.
Cutscenes are solid.
Like the acting isn't 100%, but I mean, for what it is, I'm glad that it's here and that it exists, and it does tell a story, and so I can't fault it for that.
Yeah.
And plus, it's doing well, and the acting, yes, is not that great. I enjoy the guy that plays Cal as an actor. He's a really good actor. I just wish they would have done more with his character. So it's not really on the actor himself. It's mostly on, I'm assuming, the writing and stuff. But the other characters in there, they had great character developments, especially BD1, the little robot. That thing, I felt like he had so much character development. And when you finally realize his full story at the end, you kind of just feel bad for the little guy and how much he's been through. But yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to jump into it more. It's definitely it's what I expected, but also different than what I expected because it's a lot more. It is way more Dark Souls than I thought it would be, which is probably a good thing though. I mean, for a lot of people Devin used to be on our podcast. Like he's a big Star Wars fan and he's a huge Dark Souls fan. So this is like he's gonna eat this game up for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be. It's going to bring in a new audience to Respawn games that has never played a Respawn game before, which I think is pretty smart for them to approach it that way. And again, this is a Star Wars game that you've never seen this kind of combat with lightsabers. Like you're used to more Arkham style stuff, faster pace and everything. So I think that's an interesting take on it. But I'm impressed with what they've done with it. And are any of the areas that they go to like areas from the universe, or are they all like new, fresh places?
Kashyyyk.
Okay.
Kashyyyk, yeah.
That's from, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Mostly the prequel trilogies.
Okay. Yeah. Are any of the new areas that they go to like really, really unique and compelling, or are they just kind of just cool environments that don't like anything that really stands out as like, wow, this is a great addition to the Star Wars universe?
Like they are. To be honest, they're all unique in their own way. But yeah, they're pretty unique visually, and the paths that you take. Like I feel like I get lost, even though it's a straight path and you're going straight to objective. I still feel like I'm lost, but somehow I always end up where I need to be. And I like that about it. But then again, I kind of lose my mind a little bit because I'm like, I kind of want to explore more. And whenever I'm trying to veer off and explore, somehow I end up in the main objective already. And I'm just like. So it's supposed to be a linear game, but it still feels open enough that it's not, if that makes sense. It's kind of like Uncharted 4 in the very beginning of the gameplay where you're driving through and it's open and you're like, wow, I can explore all this, but there's this main objective.
Really, it's not that,
It's not that open. So,
yeah.
But yeah, visually, each world to me is different. The enemies, I don't know why they keep putting spiders in every single planet. I hate that crap so much.
I try to avoid them like the plague.
They are just visually terrifying to me, and they did really good work on it. It gives me nightmares at night. I hate spiders, and like everywhere I go, it's a fucking spider. It's like, oh, great. But yeah, no,
those things are annoying too because they have like this like I guess pullback lunge attack, and it just throws you and does so much damage. And I'm like, dude, and then you go and like hit them, and they still like initiate the attack, but sometimes if you hit them, they'll like it like stuns them, so they go back a little bit, and you can do a bunch of damage. I'm just like, how? I just can't get the hang of you guys.
Yeah.
Like, and then they have this thing where like they throw 3 spots of web down, so like you get stuck in it, and it makes you slower. And then they'll like come running at you, and then or they'll throw like a big chunk of web, and it binds you. And then they do this thing where I think this should kill you, but they like grapple your neck and throw you on the ground and then shake you. Yeah. I'm like, this guy should be dead. If this spider did this, he's dead.
The spider's mouth is around his neck, and he's just, and you're just like, no. That's when I put the controller down. Just kind of like done. No, I can't.
That's funny. Nice.
But all the other memories are pretty fun. I mean, killing stormtroopers is always fun.
Oh yeah. It's cool. Well, I'm excited to jump into it more and give it a more thorough walkthrough and stuff.
We'll go into spoilers.
I'm
next
glad
time.
it's good. Yeah,
Plays through it.